Fresh collard greens and ham hocks, the kind you buy in what they call a bunch, and it is a bunch of collard greens, or it looks like it is till you cook them down. But that is what a bunch of collard greens is. In fact, that's two bunches, and everybody, even when you go to the same store, sometimes one bunch will be a little smaller or a little bigger than the other. I'm going to try and explain all of that best I can. I'm also going to show you my personal recipe that I think works excellent, and I use ham hocks, as you can see right there. But I'm going to show you something that somebody showed me 30 years ago on how to clean fresh or bunches of collard greens in the sink. It works really well. It gets all the grit off every single time. And I'm also going to show you how I cut the stem out and why I don't use these kind on special occasions, and if it's all you can get, what I say you need to do to make those as good as these. I'm John Sanders, also known as Jelly 007. Let's cook some southern collard greens and ham hocks. Okay, so one of the objects of tonight is to show about how many, say, a bunch of collards feed. And that's one of the questions that, well, my wife had. She asked me, how many people can you feed with one bunch? Well, I can tell you, I really, honestly don't know. I'm not sure it is an exact answer, and I can tell you why. This one right here that has 3 stalks, I just weighed it, 2.9 pounds. This one only has 2 stalks, 3.3 pounds. All right, well, then once we remove all of these stalks and this vein up this leaf, because I don't want any of that in there. I want to get out the most I can of that right there, that ridge or that vein or that stalk. All I want is this green. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to show you how I wash them, but we're going to get some of this off first. I'm going to get them unwrapped, and then we're going to see how much we get in here, and then you'll be able to see what that cooks down to and hopefully have a better idea of how many people you can feed. So, I'll be back. Okay, so before we start cleaning the greens and getting the stalk or the stem out, I want to start cooking these, because I cook these for 15 minutes before I put the greens in. So we want to get that started. Now, I will say I have used whole ham hocks many times, and they work good. It's just that when you start, once they cook, and you start picking the meat off of them on the next step, you get a lot of little bitty bone pieces and all. And this just seems to work a lot better, because actually this is like the butt end of the ham hock. So you've got a little bit of bone, but it's not a big deal, and you don't get those little bitty pieces that you got to find and get out of there before, you know, somebody bites into it or something. So, all right, to kind of show you a little bit about how these look and why I like them better, as you can see, this is the butt end of a ham hock, and the shank end is where all these ligaments, these little bones, turn into really little bones. But if all you can get is the ham hock itself, the whole one, by all means, you know, get it. Or even smoked hog jowl, it works just as good, and it's got the same basic, same flavor. But the main thing is, you're still going to have to get some bones out. It's not a big deal, though. You just get them out. It's nothing to freak out about. It's just these add excellent flavor, worth doing anyhow. I'm about to get these in there. I'm going to put this 32 ounces of chicken broth on there and get that started, and I'm going to do them 10 minutes. I think these are a little thinner than the last ones I had, and I think 10 minutes will be fine. All we're doing is building a pot liquor for these right here to cook in. So I'm going to get that going, and I'll be back. We're going to start cleaning up those greens. All right there they are in there with the 32 ounces of chicken broth. All I want to do now is set that on there and lock it, and we're going to get this started on high for 10 minutes. So I'm sure you understand that, and probably don't need to show it. But anyhow, come around to here. It's already on 10. I'm going to hit start. We're off and going. Make sure it's sealed, and it is. So we'll get that going, and they can stay there as long as needed, because now we're going to get these greens started. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing, I'm removing anything that say this white vein, which is that right there. And there's a lot of ways you can do it with a knife. People do. You can also fold it. But here's what I just do. I just take it like this right here and just pull this part right here out and just try and go as far as I can. And that is what I do. And there is that. I'm going to cut those again, but first we're going to wash them. I just always get all of the, I get them cleaned up, I get all the stalk out that I call before I wash them. So, but like I said, you can do it with a knife. You can do it with a lot of ways, again. But, and then also right here, I'll show you right quick. Once you get the rubber band off of them, you just look for, say, right here where there's not a lot of leaves, and you just cut it. And so you're not losing anything. Throw that right there. Now you've got another batch to start cleaning. So now you get the idea. Waiting on this, but mainly I'm gonna get all these cleaned up, and we're gonna wash them. All right, so for the record, on the ham hock, I did 10 minutes of cook time. I let it do a natural release for 10 minutes while I was cleaning these greens up, and then I released the rest of the pressure, which it wasn't a lot. But here's something you might want to know. I think we started out with one that was 2.9 and one that was 3.3, I think. So that would be 6.2. But anyhow, I may be wrong with that. I'll look back on the video to see for sure. But there is what I'm discarding, 3.6. So a little more than half. So anyhow, now you know. I just wanted you to know if you need to know or whether you wanted to know. But we're fixing to open these up. In fact, I'll do that. Back. There's what they look like. And I'm going to kind of pick some of those bones out. And you can see that pot liquor. It looks excellent. And we're not anywhere near done with it. We got other things we're going to put in it. But right now, we're about to wash these greens we've got ready. So let me get that set up. Okay, so here is the special method that the lady told me 30 years ago. And you need a double sink, or at least if you don't have a double sink, you need a wash pan or something, another tub of water. And here's what you do. You put them in here, you let them, you make sure they're suspended in the water. There's enough water in there to where they are suspended. And you just agitate them around a little bit, let them sit just a minute, and then you just let them drip off a little bit, move them to the other side, just like this. And I'm going to go all the way through with it, so bear with me just a second. And the other side, of course, is filled with water already. And you move them to this side, get all of them that you can, that you want, get them out of there. And then, and with, depending on whether you picked these or whether the person you bought them from picked them or where they came from. So you may only have to do this once or twice, but you may have to do it 4 or 5, because like right now, and those came from Ingles, and I do feel a little bit of grit right there. So that is all you do, is the grit will sink to the bottom. So now I'm going to drain this water. I'm going to refill it. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. Let these sit, kind of agitate them around, and then I'm going to move them to this. I'm going to fill this sink back up with water, move them to that side, and fill the bottom here. And I'm going to keep doing that until there's no grit on the bottom of that sink. So, like I said, it works real well. Now you know. And I'm fixing to show you what we've done with this sliced meat, with these ham hocks. Be right back. All right, just for the record, I rinsed out the bottom of this sink to make sure there was no more grit left on the bottom, and then fill it back to whatever level you need to make yours be suspended. But anyhow, be back. All right, all I'm doing is taking them. Now the broth, as a matter of fact, is still in there from the 32 ounces of chicken broth, and what came off of the ham hock, slices of ham hock. And all I'm doing is just kind of tearing them and putting them in here just like that. And I'm going to continue doing that till I get them all in there. So I will be right back. Then we're going to put a few other items in there. So see you in a minute. All right there they are. Every one of those greens went in, and it's almost the exact perfect amount for an 8-quart Ninja Foodi. I'm going to try and show you. You may can see that water, the pot liquor level, which is about right there. It's going to work perfect. It's going to be a really good amount. I'm going to put the sliced ham hocks, and you can see I already removed most of the bones. I probably didn't get them all, but I got a lot of them. I got Better Than Bouillon roasted garlic. That's what I use in mine, 1 teaspoon. So we're going to put that right there. It'll get there, take my word. When this thing starts cooking and that steam starts going on, a lot of things happen. Let's see, the 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to shake that up. Now, I debated on this. I'm not going to, but this right here, you can add stuff like some type of pepper, even pepper chili flakes. I've started using this. It works good on several things, but you can do that at the table. That way you're not, adding any heat to something it doesn't have to have. There's no need in putting it now. You can put it at the table. 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And I'm going to get my act together just a little bit better to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And we're going to get this in here. I'm going to go ahead and set it in here. But I think we're good to go. But I'm going to double check. I don't want to start and be messing up. So I'll be right back. Yeah, I was about to mess up. The brown sugar. I felt there was something. I'm only going to put a 1/2 tablespoon. I mean, all I want it to do is knock a little bit of that bite off of those greens. And I'm going to put it right on top of that garlic because I'm also going to do this right here. I put a little bit of water in this container, and I'm just going to rinse that right down in there. And I can hear this it's still set to warm, so it's trying to heat up again. I'm going to turn it off and get the lid and get this on, and we're about to start this. I'll be right back. All right, so I did find the lid. I'm going to mix this around just a little bit, and I may have got some of that garlic on my fingers, but I'll be fine. I'm going to get those pressed down as far as I can, just like that. I'm even going to put that back in. Don't want to waste any. Going to put this on. Make sure it's sealed. Turn the unit on. It's on pressure already. It's already set to high. I'm going to hit time. I'm going to take time to 20 minutes. So, do is press start. And we are off and running. I will see y'all in a little bit. Okay, so for the part about the bagged kind, I mean, nothing wrong with them. I've used them a bunch of times. But if you see that right there, it's just not, maybe I'm going a little too far on how much I don't like them. But you see that stem right there, one thing, it's just chewy, a little bit woody, a little bit stringy, and a little bit bitter. But that's what they do. They chop them, and you can see all throughout the bag. So that's what I'm saying. If you have to use these, I would say, if you're trying to do, special occasion greens, spread them out, find those pieces, and just leave it pretty much the green, the leaf. But anyhow, not bad mouthing them. Again, you don't have to worry about that with, say, turnips and a lot of, just the collards. That's the only ones that I worry about the stem on. So I'm going to get off of that, waiting on this to get done. Okay, we're coming up on the end of the 20 minutes where all I'm going to do is a quick release, and then we're going to take a look at them. Now, I will say a lot of people have issues with quick release on some things, but if some of the theories I've ever heard are right, I think it will help make a collard green more tender. But they're theories. That's all I know. Anyhow, when that ends, we're going to look at them. There it went right at 4 minutes for that to bleed down. So make sure everything looks good right here. We're about to open this lid and take a look at these collards. I'll show you what they look like right now. And wow, they created quite a bit of pot liquor. And those ham hock, that meat looks excellent. And I have a very good feeling it will be. I'm going to give it a minute, and then we're going to size up what size bowl I need. Again, 2 bunches according to Ingalls. And you can see as I stir them, they go down a little bit because, well, you can see they did. They were, I had to look back, but they were about right here when I opened it. But you can see what's going on. But anyhow, I'm going to give them a minute and we're going to transfer them to a bowl and see just how they are. And I'll see you in a second. All right, there's what I ended up going with, this size bowl. And you can see that's two large bunches, if you ask me. They're not always that size, but you see what you get from what we had. And take my word, I've already tasted it and nothing wrong with that. It is perfect. The greens, if you ask me, are cooked to the perfect consistency. That sliced ham hock is a great item to use. I'll just leave it at that. This right here will get used. I'm going to put these in the refrigerator. They'll get served tomorrow, most likely. I mean, I'm going to eat that bowl tonight. And with some corn, I'll cook cornbread with them. You got to have cornbread with this, but I will do that tomorrow. Now, here's the pot liquor. There's extra pot liquor I have, and you can see I got a decent amount in the bowl I've got them in. So, nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with those. And anyhow, hey, if y'all saw something you liked, as always, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up. Jelly always likes thumbs ups. And take my word, if you try this, I promise you, you will cook some of the best turnip or collard greens you've ever cooked. They're that good. Hey, I love y'all all. Come back to see me. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.